soon after he becomes the king, Solomon has a dream. And in the dream, God appears to Solomon and asks Solomon what it is that Solomon wants. And Solomon explains himself. He says, I'm new, I'm inexperienced, I'm young, I'm the king. I really need wisdom. And so God is pleased with Solomon's answer. It's the question is a kind of riddle, really, and Solomon answers it correctly. And God grants Solomon not only wisdom, he says, because you have answered this way, I'm also giving you wealth and health and happiness. So wisdom is the kind of linchpin. And that's what I want us to think about today. That's what I want to talk about. We're going to be looking at this monograph from Mark Stavish, The 4 Aims of Jupiter. The 4 aims of Jupiter are wealth, health, happiness, and wisdom. And so we're going to be focusing on wisdom of those 4 aims. The monograph is accompanied by a course on Teachable. I will put links in the description to the course and the monograph. My name is Keith Joseph. I am an aspirant in the Institute for Hermetic Studies teacher certification program. And we're going to be thinking about this question of wisdom today. So what do we mean by wisdom? In the monograph, Mark quotes Jean Dubuis. And Dubuis says that on the 32nd path, the student decides to conquer matter. And I want to propose that this is wisdom. But let's think about this a little bit. So here is a glyph of the tree of life. This is the 32nd path here, right? So Malkuth to Yesod, 32nd path. Malkuth is the world, the kingdom. It's the material world that we live in. And the spiritual world, or the conscious, comes through the 32nd path to manifest in Malkuth. So it's a crucial path. So on the 32nd path, the student decides to conquer matter. So what does that mean? Let's think about it. In the modern world, the world that we live in now, the dominant paradigm is an atheistic, scientistic, materialistic view of the world. Obviously I don't agree with it, but that is the dominant paradigm. So let's just think that through for a second. The premise is that the material world, and this is what we mean by philosophical materialism, the material world is primary and consciousness is derived from the material world. Consciousness is like incidental to matter. And if you look at some of these, evolutionary philosophers that are thinking about evolution, they'll, make comments that consciousness is incidental, it's accidental, it's a problem that we don't understand, and so forth. So matter is the real thing, and consciousness is this kind of mysterious thing that we don't really know. This view is completely mistaken, and it's not scientific if we think of science as experimental, empirical knowledge derived from senses and experiment. Because we only know the material world through consciousness. There is no material world independent of consciousness. Consciousness actually is primary. Consciousness gives rise to the material world. The problem is not consciousness. The mystery is not conscious. The mystery, if it is indeed a mystery, is matter. In fact, all we really know about the material world is how it manifests in consciousness, how it's given to us in consciousness. And there's no, that's empirically true. So the conquest then of matter that Dewey is talking about, at least the interpretation that I'm proposing, I don't want to limit your interpretation to mine. I think that this comment by him is probably rich enough to contain multiple interpretations. I think you can really meditate on this idea. But the conquest of matter, though, at least the way that I'm proposing to think about it for the time being, means that you understand that consciousness is primary and that matter is derived from consciousness, and that what we mean by Maya or samsara is this delusion or this illusion that matter is primary. And so once you realize that consciousness is primary and you make that part of your subjective synthesis, right, your way of understanding the world, your way of being in the world, consciousness is primary, then you start to understand how magic is possible, how magic might work, how Jesus turned water into wine, or how he walked on water, or how he was able to control the storms and the winds, because consciousness is primary. So this idea I want to propose is, if not the basis of wisdom, a big part of wisdom. And once you understand that, a lot of other things become possible in terms of both magic and mysticism. There's another comment that Mark makes in this monograph that's related that I want to highlight and draw into this idea of wisdom also. Mark says that enlightenment is not, it's not an event or a state. Enlightenment is a way of being in the world. It's a way of being. In other words, there's this deep relationship between enlightenment and wisdom, right? Because wisdom is not only the understanding that consciousness is primary, wisdom is the skillful interaction with the world. Enlightenment is the skillful response and interaction with the world. And often the most clear way of kind of noticing a wise or an unwise person is how they react to the world, right? Sometimes we can't control if we're stuck in a traffic jam, but we can control our response to it. We can't control someone cuts us off, but we can control our response. We can't control a whole mess of things that happen in the world and in our life. All we can control is how we respond. And the more we grow in wisdom, the more we're able to perceive or to realize when we're being manipulated by the media or by government. We're being pushed to take this side or that side, and that those mechanisms of control we can start to discern and we can start to see through, and that is wisdom, that is enlightenment. So this monograph is, as I said earlier, is really rich and detailed and has a lot of helpful things, and I think it's worth taking a look at. I hope my comments are useful to you and helpful to you. And if you've looked at this monograph or have thoughts or ideas, please leave a comment below. I'd love to engage with you in the comments if you have questions. And I will see you in the next video.